For non-technical founders, this feels like when somebody discovered fire. It's like giving superpowers to a non-technical builder that always wanted to build but always felt capped because of the technical knowledge.
Hi, Felipe, and hi, Julian.
So I'm Felipe. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Houston. Before this, I was building with Julian a product focused on tax firms in the US to help them do more taxes.
How do your worlds collide?
We're second-degree cousins. His grandmother and my grandfather were siblings, and I told him, Julian, get a plane, come to SF, and let's build for 10 days. I saw Julian more than I saw my wife during that period.
How did you find out about Composio?
Each of us has to connect to 30 tools individually. Something must be out there in the market. And we run into Composio and we said, holy cow, this is an amazing product because you connect once to Composio and suddenly your agent can access 1,000 tools.
What's the goal for Houston? What does winning look like for you guys?
Our mission is to give everybody in the planet a personal AI agent.
What's the downside to having a personal AI agent?
There are jobs that will disappear and there are jobs that will be created.
Anything you else want to share to everyone?
We are going to launch the biggest hackathon for non-technical builders in San Francisco.
This is amazing. Hi, Felipe, and hi, Julian. Really appreciate you making the time. Raul told me about your journey a bit, and your story is super interesting. I mean, from tax company to internal tool to Composio CLI, now Houston. I'm really excited to hear it all. Let's kind of set the stage by getting you guys to quickly introduce yourselves. Yeah.
So I'm Felipe. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Houston. Before this, I was building with Julian a product focused on tax firms in the US to help them do more taxes. And I guess we'll tell you the story of how we ended up building Houston because of that. And in my previous life, I worked at a venture capital firm for 3 years and at payment companies like MasterCard. And yeah, now building Houston, giving everybody in the world an open claw or a personal AI agent.
Cool. And I'm Julian. On my previous life, I was a machine learning engineer. Right now, I'm a CTO at Houston. I've been working with ChatGPT since week 2 after the launch. So building with AI, building customer-facing interfaces for people to just prompt and make things happen. So I used to work at a video game engine where we went from prompt to video game. And before that, I did a master's in philosophy of mind, where I was a professor at the best university in my country about philosophy of artificial intelligence. So I've been doing this for a while.
That's amazing. And how did both of you cross paths? How did your worlds collide?
So actually, there's a backstory. We're second-degree cousins, but Julian was working in LA at the time when I was arriving to SF. And actually, his grandmother and my grandfather were siblings. And his grandmother was like, oh my God, Felipe is in San Francisco. You should talk. And I was right here and I told him, Julian, get a plane, come to SF and let's build for 10 days. How come you never told me you were a machine learning engineer at a video game company? Let's do something. And we just got into a room, hacked for 10 days and applied to YC, got called to an interview. We didn't get in, but we ended up racing around here in San Francisco.
Wait, that is so cool. It's actually funny. I had a conversation with another founder recently, and very similar how they ended up co-founding together. They also were stuck in a room for so many hours, and that's kind of so during that time you realized how you guys very much kind of click, and you guys have a very complementing personalities and work ethics, you would say. Yeah.
I mean, I think the first thing was testing working under pressure, right? So we worked nonstop for 10 days. He was literally sleeping on my couch. I saw Julian more than I saw my wife during that period. But yeah, I think it was more about working together and just how we got along with each other. And we've been together for the past 15 months.
That is amazing. And that was Houston, right? That was when you guys started building.
Oh no, so we started building AI agents for tax firms initially. So we would do end-to-end tax prep for US tax firms and enable them AI agents. And then in the pursuit of doing a more automated thing like end-to-end work, we ended up building our internal tool that we called internally Houston. It was our code name, right? And the moment that we rebuilt our product a couple of times, and Houston was the answer to making agentic work happen. And probably Julian can talk what's under the hood. And then when we a few weeks ago, we made a breakthrough in product, and it was so impressive that we said we need to share this with more people. And we started sharing it with founders in our office, and then we did a private launch, and it went viral. And we the other day that we woke up, 1,000 people had shared it. And we were like, holy cow, there's something here. We open sourced it and it's now Houston. So Houston is the OpenClaw for non-technical founders. So we want to give everybody in the planet a personal AI agent. As you have a personal computer, now you'll have a personal agent.
Well, that's really cool. And so going back a little bit, why did you decide to kind of build a tax company? And then what made you want to pivot to building Houston?
So the story goes back a little bit more. Before building TaxFlow, I was building a legal tax and compliance product for a venture capital firm to help founders raise venture capital. And I built a product to help founders raise sort of like $150 million for their pre-seed companies, like building their international structures to be able to receive this. And I used to work a lot with law firms and tax firms. So when I saw how they were working like Excel, Outlook, Teams, and making $1 million with 3 people, and they couldn't do more, I was like, "There's no way they do this." So that's why we started solving that problem. But then in the middle, like we're in the middle of the greatest change in humanity's history, probably. And what we saw is that what we built was so powerful that other industries could benefit from it, and we actually open sourced it because we wanted like literally to push humanity forward too. So that's why we're pivoting to Houston. It's just to enable more people to be able to change their industries as well.
That is amazing. And at some point, you built, like you mentioned, an internal tool on top of Composio to do that work. What was the internal tool?
So what we were doing was creating an open club for tax preparers because we have tax preparers in-house doing also work for other firms. And we did traditional software, like for us, traditional software is any AI native software that uses Python workflows, for example, and then you just make different API calls, right? To call an LLM. So for example, if you have an app and you have like a generate email button, that's a traditional way of building software. Why? Because your AI that could do a lot of different things. In that case, you need to click and it will only write an email. And then probably if you don't have that integrated, you will copy the email and paste it anywhere, right? So what we did was try to think how OpenCloud could help us completing tax processes, but we had an issue, and that is that our preparers, they were not technical at all, right? So they were scared of opening a terminal session to launch OpenCloud. They were For them was really weird to be working with this machine. So I ended up building a backend for that. So we built a native Mac machine app, sorry, so that they could use all the power speed of OpenClaw with multiple terminal sessions, but they never saw a terminal. They never did anything. So then doing all of the connections within OpenClaw at first, especially, was really time consuming because you need to handle authentications, API keys, and our preparers had no idea what like an API key is. So we integrated Composio, and right away the change was like amazing because you were connected to everything in just some clicks. The models know which tools to use, and we integrated that into our UI in a way that you just need to click. Don't even need to open a terminal. And if you're chatting, for example, with an agent, it will just tell you, hey, for this, it will be great to use, I don't know, Stripe for generating a payment link. And we just print like a really cute button. So you just click it and open in Composio. You do all of the login of Stripe, for example, in Composio. Then you go back into Houston and then you just continue and you send like 100 payment links, for example, if you are doing a for.
Yeah. So in our like, if I can recap it as well, what I think is as we were building our internal tools and internal agents, we found ourselves increasingly connecting to each and different tools separately, which was becoming increasingly more difficult to maintain, more difficult to see what we were connected to, right? And Julian and I started discussing like there must be a better way to do this. Like there's no way each of us has to connect to 30 tools individually. Something must be out there in the market. And we tried like some things and we run into Composio and we said, holy cow, this is an amazing product because you connect once to Composio and you have suddenly your agent can access 1,000 tools. And as Julian was saying, like our preparers were not engineers. They were business people, right? And the fact that they could just see a button that says connect to your Gmail and connect and just go sign was like, it felt very magical to people because they were like, holy cow, I can use tools now. So that's how we went into Composio. And the other thing that made us choose Composio was how obsessed you guys were about the product because something was not working. We had deployed 400 beta users using it. Something was broken and Julian wrote to, I think it was an engineer from a team or the
Rahul.
CTO. And he was like, come to my office. We'll fix this right now. And Julian, like that was 5 p.m. 3 p.m. Julian was at your offices. 6 p.m. He was like, okay, now I have clarity on what I need to do. I'll ship this today. 4 a.m. Julian receives a message, fixed. So that kind of obsession, like it's nowhere to be found.
Wow. Okay. So backtracking a little bit. So is this why, because your customers were like non-technical, like business people, is that why they were like scared of like the terminal, right? Like they wanted, is that the reason why? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason is imagine you're not an engineer and somebody tells you, or like a car mechanic, and somebody tells you, open the hood of your car and fix your engine. It's like, I have no idea what that is, and I don't want to like break the car, right? Same with a computer, like open a terminal. Like it might be just a simple command, but if you've never opened a computer terminal, you'll be like, holy cow, this feels hacker, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Okay.
just want to give the power of using a codex, a cloud code, and an agent to someone that has no idea what those things mean.
Okay, that's really cool. And then yeah, and then you discovered Composio. How did you like find out about Composio? Even yeah, how it
I was looking at different ways for integrating tools, and
okay.
I tried a lot of different tools.
Mhm.
But yeah, at the end, actually, like I love that you have is the Composio for You plan, because that got
Mhm.
me into Composio, because it's like, okay, it is free for you to use, and if you, when you want to build upon it, you have the platform and you pay, and that makes a lot of sense. But our product, for example, is free for all the users, like the platform, right? Sorry, the Houston app. So we wanted something also that allow us to give that for free to other users. They use their own subscriptions. So we thought, okay, this would be amazing because everyone can have their own Composio subscription. They will manage their API keys. We are not in charge of them. So for this to bring this up like globally, that worked amazing.
That's
And
amazing.
the TLDR is researching. You did a
Yeah.
good job, and we found you guys researching.
Yay! Yeah, this is I think something that I'm kind of as someone in marketing, like I think it's very important to kind of there's this term called like retrievability. So really making sure your product is retrievable when you like are just like, chatting to like to AI to like chat or Claude or just going on like search. It's just you can find
Yeah,
it. It's like gonna
yeah,
solve your problems. That's awesome.
And actually, like I was looking at Composio via Cloud Code, right? So I was asking Cloud Code, and at first, like Composio wasn't the one of the first contenders. But then I told him, okay, now go do a deep research on all of your competitors. And at the end, it was like, okay, for your use case, Composio is the best. So, but like at first, it didn't have in his knowledge that it was the best. So you want to look into that.
That is so awesome. And so you eventually started using the CLI. Like, what made you try it? What clicked that hadn't clicked before?
yeah,
But that was really fast. I remember the pain of connecting OpenCloud to Gmail for the
Mm.
first time that I needed to create we had an app on Google Cloud Console and so on, like all of the dev steps that I needed to do, where I was sure that my non-technical like team members, I will need to go one by one doing all the setup for them. With Composio, like it just happened automatically. So it's amazing.
yeah. And I think we were just looking for ways to do this in a more agentic way. And I
Yeah.
think previously we had used the first version of Composio that didn't have the CLI, and you guys launched the CLI. And I think we were one of the first users to use it, like the second day that you launched it, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Because we like our product is born in the terminal, so any CLI tool that we can use, we will use it first natively. So that was a great surprise.
And so you mentioned how you ended up coming to the Composio office. Okay, let's like break that down a little bit more. Give me more detail. What was going on at that point and what wasn't working?
Okay. So like Composio CLI is a tool for terminals, right? So you don't really need to show the user like anything graphically. In Houston, we want to show the user all of the things that they are connected to. So for doing that, like, you guys have an MCP and you have Composio platform, which is different, and you didn't have like a command for the LLM to list all of the connected apps because you don't need it. Because like Rahul was explaining to me, like, hey, the model just tries to connect to an app, and if it is not connected, then just prompt the user to connect the app, right? So you didn't have that command because it was not needed for doing that on a terminal. We needed that because we needed to show on a UI all of the connections. And I was doing something really hacky, like getting all of the connections from Composio platform, then try to connect to a short list of 45 apps, and my model was trying to connect to everyone all the time just to show the user which were connected and which not. But if I left one app outside of that shortlist, then they will never know. So that wasn't working for us. And I was like, okay, this is an open source project. I will just contribute. And I contributed a change. Then Rahul replied like the day after. But with more questions. So I replied, then he replied, and I was like, okay, this will probably take a lot of time. So I just scraped all of Rahul's information and looked like he was active on Twitter. And I just added on Twitter and I was like, hey, dude, I wrote this PR for you on the GitHub repo. Uh, do you want more context? Can we do this because we have a meeting with OpenAI next day and we wanted to have that fixed? Sure, I would love to. Can you jump on a call? And I was like, okay, you're in a set. If you are, let's meet in person. And he was, okay, cool. This is my office. Want to come? I was like, sure. On my way.
way. Yeah.
Okay. And we met like 25 minutes after that. And then we did all of well, we discussed a lot about, we spent like an hour talking about CLIs and architectures and models and what would be best for the tool in general. And was like a really inspiring conversation, I think. Then he did the fix. So everything worked.
Wow, it happened all so quick. And because you had this meeting with OpenAI like the next like day, you just you were like really like kind of rushing. And then you mentioned how it was was it 4 a.m. or like you were at the office
Like
very
I met with him like at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
You are like, hey, I will touch base with another engineer because I want to understand like which is the best way to implement it. I want a second opinion. But he told me something like, but be sure that tomorrow when you wake up, the fix will be done, so you are able to make all of the changes that you. Well, okay, fine. And then I saw Twitter and 4:49 a.m. he was like fixed, and it was fixed. So.
And how did you guys feel after it was like you guys were like, did you kind of experience that before with like other, or did you really like how they were very like fast kind of they really cared about kind of the fixing?
I'm gonna reply to that. Like, I think as a founder, that's the intensity you expect from a partner, right? So it builds a lot of trust and reliability for us to want to roll out to 1,000 or 1,000,000 users and say, okay, if something break, they will be there and fix it, as opposed to not feeling that and probably having to switch. So yeah, that was very good for us to feel aligned in terms of execution, like the execution mode we expect. And it's the one we're in.
Yeah, I love that. So the tool went from something you and your co-founder use internally to something now people outside are using. How did that happen?
So we planned a private workshop in our offices last Thursday. We wanted to do it for like 20 people and 70 showed up. We did a live workshop and literally told everybody, hey, here's the app via WhatsApp. We shared the app in a WhatsApp group, like download it, we'll help you set it up. And as we said, like it became viral. We're still in beta. We haven't officially launched. We're in beta. We expect to be launching in the next few days. But around 400 to 500 people are using it right now, 200 more in the waiting list, and we expect to be having 1,000 users by end of month at least.
Congrats. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Why do you think so? Why did it go viral? Like why do you think people really loved it?
I mean, first, it's a beautiful product. You should go try it yourself. But second, I think that for non-technical founders, this feels like when somebody discovered fire. It's like giving power, like superpowers to a non-technical builder that always wanted to build but always felt capped because of the technical knowledge. So once that is off the table and they can do something with natural language, it feels magical. And that's how it was feeling. There's an aha moment like, wow, I can do that. Like I thought I couldn't do that. And now they can. So I think that yeah, giving that sense of being technical to a non-technical user or giving them that ability to build something is very powerful.
That is amazing. Was there a moment, like a specific moment where when you decided to make it public, or did it just like did it happen? Like was that something you wanted to eventually do?
And I think it was very organic, to be honest. Like we
Okay.
just wanted to share it with our friends in the office because this was so powerful that we were like, somebody else needs to try this. And then they told their teams and their teams told their friends and their friends told their friends. And it was like, there's something here. We need to pursue this. And that's what we're doing.
So walk me through it. So what does like Houston do? Like walk me through it as a like through it like I'm a potential user. Like who's getting so you mentioned the people who are getting the most of it right now are like non-technical founders.
Non-technical builders, correct.
Builders.
Imagine
Okay.
you're a knowledge worker. So you do marketing at Composio. So you can download Houston and you can create your own personal agent. You can give it a role, a job description. You can give it access to tools via Composio. And then you can prompt it to do things within those tools. So for example, if you dream of having a personal assistant that can help you I don't know, do social listening, scrape, give you reports, give you a database, give you ideas on what to do content about, execute that content on tools, edit that content, do scripts, record, edit videos, like all of that. It's literally like hiring an employee, that learns as you work. So yeah, if you have a ChatGPT subscription or a Claude subscription, you can go from just chatting to executing work, like co-working with an agent. So yeah, any knowledge worker that needs to do something with an interface nowadays at their job can use Houston.
And why do you guys why do you think you guys are the right fit for kind of building this and co-founding this?
So I'm gonna reply that in two ways. First of all, we have absolute founder market fit. Julian was lead machine learning engineer at a video game engine company. He knows inside out how to build like video game interactions and make this enjoyable for people. And I come from a background where I've been building community-based backed companies. I used to run my own startup operator community of 100,000 people. So we know how to build stuff that people can build with others, like video games, community. So I think we're uniquely positioned to get a product like this to market. And second of all, I think anybody could do it. We're just executing, and I hope everybody else good luck as well, But yeah, I think we're uniquely positioned to execute in this idea.
That's awesome. And if you had to rebuild Houston without Composio, what would that look like? What would that have looked like?
It'll be a nightmare. Like I think we would need to build Composio, which I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, because it probably take just so much work and
How about you? No, like I think that the thing that make everyone feel that this has superpowers is that it is using their tools. And like I don't want to get into build a 10,000 like 1,000 integrations because we have been seeing people using Houston in ways that we never thought about it. For example, we never tried Notion because we don't use Notion, for example. But there are a lot of people who use Notion and they're doing crazy stuff with Houston and Notion just because they have the already made integration. So I think the first part will be to find something like Composure or build our own integrations. Which will be take a lot of time.
Yeah, but one word, if you're looking for one word for other companies out there thinking about integrating to Composio or not, like nightmare is the word without Composio. And the word with Composio, I would say like ease.
Yeah.
so is that true? So you're running two things right now. So Houston and TaxFlow, right?
So TaxFlow became a verticalized version of Houston. So imagine you're a tax firm. You can use Houston for tax would be the version that TaxFlow is. But Houston can now be Houston for law, Houston for tax, Houston for design, Houston for yada yada, you know?
I love that. So Houston's becoming the main thing, but then you can but it's for so many different industries and
Yeah, TaxFlow is a verticalized version of Houston.
love that. And then what's the goal for Houston down the line? What is that what does winning look like for you guys?
Our mission is to give everybody in the planet a personal AI agent. That's our mission. And we won't stop until everybody has one, as they have a personal computer.
Wow. And I'm also curious, what are the so having a personal AI agent is going to be so helpful. What do you think are the downsides to having an AI? What is that gonna maybe is there something that's gonna wreck or is there a part of where what's the downside to having a personal AI agent?
I'm going to give you my opinion. I think all of this will unfold, but I think work as we know it will shift dramatically in different senses. Like there are jobs that will disappear and there are jobs that will be created. Think of this 20 years ago when the internet didn't exist, or 30 years ago when the internet didn't exist. Who would have thought about roles like SEO specialist, community manager? Like you couldn't even think about those. I think the same thing is happening right now. Like probably there will be AI managers, right? These kind of things. But I think that that can be the downside. Like people need to understand that there's a transformation is undergoing rapidly and that they will need to transform themselves. Like transformation is happening with or without them, right? So my thought about this is jump into the AI tools today because you will evolve with the tools and you'll be safe. So yeah, and other downsides is I think since we don't understand, we don't know what we don't know in terms of security, in terms of risks, we have to make an extra effort to keep ourselves educated and understand what's going on to not fall for things we don't know we can fall for, I would say.
Okay, that's amazing.
I don't know. How about you?
You agree? Awesome. And so you mentioned startup speed before. What does that mean to you? Startup speed? Like, what does startup speed mean to you? Speed.
We're doing releases on a daily
Yeah,
basis. Like we have 1 day sprints and 2 reviews a day. So our SLA is if a user sends feedback 24 hours after, it must be fixed. That's like our intention right now. Like that's the kind of intensity we're building Houston with.
Okay, so the Composio team like shipped a feature for you the same day. Did you kind of expect that? Do you expect that going forward, or like do you feel yeah, or was it like
Well, I mean, I think that I met a lot of people here on the Bay Area that work. That's like the work ethic, like because it's people that cares a lot about their product. Like my session with Rahul was more like he was like, of course I can do this feature, but like I really want to understand your needs because I really want to improve Composio, you know. So I think that like right now speed, like developer speed, well, we're really fast because we're using AI for everything. But for me, it's more about like being obsessed with the product, being obsessed with like cultivating relationships because I know that every time that I fix something for one of our users, they will want to come back because they will know like, okay, I had this issue and they fix it, right? So they will like even if we have more bugs and whatever, they will be here because they will feel like they listen to me, they're changes that doing the changes I need, they are working towards helping me. So I think for me that's why how I perceive also composition. Like I think that they also want to do something like this.
and then if you could change one thing about how Houston is built, like the infra, the tooling, anything, what would it be?
I think that it's not more. It's not like what would I change, but what do I need to build? Because right now we're planning to do also Houston for enterprise, and that has two different ways of looking. So it's for working for teams. So you have an agent that is part of the team, not a personal agent. So like all of the team members' knowledge compounds into one agent that everyone gets to use, and we handle permissions and all of the different things. So right now I'm planning to build that infrastructure. So it's not something that I will change, but something I will still need to build.
Okay. And is your team like, is it just you two, or you guys have like other teammates?
We're 4 people and we're spread around the planet. Argentina and Colombia and SF right now. So yeah.
And why Argentina and Colombia? What made you choose those?
Great talent. That's the only reason and same time zone.
Really?
Yeah.
Great talent. Oh, so great talent in terms of like engineers, or like what's the
Product
traits?
and engineering. And there's another backstory, and it's that we're originally from Colombia before we moved here to SF.
Okay.
So
Yay.
yeah.
Yeah, Colombia seems very beautiful. I'd love to visit. Wow. Okay, that's amazing. And then anything that I didn't ask that you think is actually like very like a very interesting part of the story, or anything you also want to share to everyone?
We'll be doing a launch in the first days of May. We still have to nail down on a couple of details, but we are going to launch the biggest hackathon for non-technical builders in San Francisco. So we would love to invite you guys and have.
Wait, this is amazing because I'm non-technical and I would love to come. Oh my gosh.
Yes, you're more than invited.
I would love to spread the word as well. And like this is gonna be a good like start to my SF journey.
Yeah, and then another thing is we'll be launching like publicly around April the 30th or first week of May also. So would love to share with you how that goes so that we can do a coordinated launch and mention you guys like, hey, we partner with Composio and give you distribution, right? Because we're gonna have like 1,000 people sharing and we want people to share the video. So if you give us some assets, we can probably do something there and probably even shoot some of the videos in your office, maybe like one scene in your office and yeah.
And because
That
like
was
actually Composio CLI comes pre-installed with Houston when you download the app. So it's inside the app. So
So
everyone will be using
every
Composio.
Houston download will be a Composio user.
oh my God, that's amazing because we are trying to like increase our tool call number. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. Super, really appreciate it. I mean, this is such a wonderful, like, such a wonderful collab. Like,
Yeah.
Houston and Composio, like, just gonna take off. That's amazing. Well, this is really great. Felipe and Julian, thank you so much. Really appreciate you walking through your whole journey, and can't wait to see all your launches in the hackathon.
Yes. And hopefully we'll see you there building.
Yes, for sure. Okay, see you later.